Change is here. Change is on the horizon. How's everyone doing? We just had this 5-5 portal yesterday. I meant to do a video, but again, too busy with life and other changes and things going on in the background because 5-5 is all about change. And certainly I've had a lot of change in my life and I'm embracing every bit of it. And I hope you do too, because that's the only way through. We can't hold on to the past. We can't hold on to what doesn't serve us anymore. We can't hold on to the old earth and all its material things, all its attachments, all its relationships that are no longer aligned, all of the material things that are weighing you down. So we are in the current right now. We're in a river, in the current, and there's no going back. We are in the river and we're on the way to the new earth. And uh, you know, 5-5, this is your sign. Be the change, embrace the change, walk into the change willingly. Don't resist it because this is our moment. And a lot of light warriors currently are feeling the call that they have to leave something behind, that they have to make changes in their life. And humans don't like changes. So it's not always easy for us to leave things behind because there's that fear, well, if I let go of this, what do I have? And what is mine next? Where will I go? What will I own? Where will I live? Who will I be with? And it's in that surrendering state that the magic really happens. So we're not meant to hold on to the old stuff that doesn't work anymore. Often people know something is not working anymore, but they're too scared to let go because they don't know what's waiting on the horizon. And that is the whole issue that we as humans have to a large extent because we like to control everything. And our logical mind is overactive, not in harmony with the heart. So that brain heart coherence is out of balance. So we want to control the situation, and rightfully so, because humanity has been in fight and flight for literally millennia. And we've been purposely kept in that frequency of fear in the lower chakras for the longest time because that's how they maintain the food source. But now we know better, and there's a mass awakening on this planet, and we don't need to adhere to those rules anymore. So instead of blaming people for our woes, we say, okay, I take control now. I take over the wheel of this car, and I'm going to be taking control of my life, full responsibility, without blaming anyone. And I'm moving forward as a sovereign spiritual soul, eternal soul, no less, because we are eternal souls. So what are we really holding on to? Even death in this human form is only a temporary portal that we move through, another experience that is opening up. So, we always tend to cling to stuff that is no longer good for us, that no longer works. And in this new earth reality, we don't have a choice. We have to embrace the new and we have to leave that which doesn't work behind. So look at your own life. What do you need to leave behind? Because when your cup is full, you can't take on any newness. When your mind is made up, there's no growth. There's literally no growth. If you think you know everything and you think everything is good and you've kind of made up your mind. Think about that word. That means nothing new can come in. That means no new information come in because you've closed the door. Maybe you open the door to selective information that fits your ego's narrative, but you're not truly open to new information. So that's kind of my message that I wanted to start with today. I'm going to touch on some intel as well, in terms of what we see happening in the world, geopolitically, exopolitically. Yeah, so welcome to Vivid Earth, everyone. This is Anina Malherbe-Lan, truth speaker, wisdom keeper, and warrior of light. Went from successful entrepreneur to spiritual seeker and truth speaker in just a few years. But yeah, all of our lives are such a journey. And I'm just so grateful to be here at this time and to be of service. That's all I really want to do at this time. And, and when we reach a point in our lives where we want to be of service to others, then our priorities change. I went from super ambitious to absolutely zero interest in achieving anything in business anymore because it didn't do anything. It literally changed overnight for me. And um, I've never been more content. I've never been more on purpose. That doesn't mean I've got it all figured out, but I am, really, really committed and content with the path that my life has taken on. And, I just want to say as well, you can manifest anything in your life now. We don't have to wait for disclosure. We don't have to wait for somebody else to bring new earth to us. We don't have to wait for the RV. We don't have to wait for um, the bar association to go away. We don't have to wait for the financial system to change. We don't have to wait for the fiat dollar to go bye-bye. We don't have to wait for any of those things. We don't have to wait for somebody else to tell us that we are free and sovereign. We can be free and sovereign, abundant, and joyful right now, because actually, if you study quantum physics, that's all it is. It's not even spiritual woo-woo. It's literally quantum physics. It's the nature of reality, that we can control that and we can manifest what it is that we want, if you know how. But I'll get back to that. Number 5 is really about movement, freedom, transition. And when it doubles, that's amplified. So this window that opened up to us yesterday is powerful. And like somebody says, oh, but that's just another trap, something that disempowers you. No, it amplifies your intention. It amplifies what you've already initiated. It amplifies your thoughts, your intentions. And that is super important, because all of these energies, astrology, solar flares, geomagnetic storms, the ETs helping us with various things. I don't know, any and all of that is only there to assist and amplify. It's not going to make the changes for us. We have to take the steering wheel in our own hands, set the intentions, make the change ourselves, and then we will get all the support. That current in the river will take us wherever we want to go. We will surrender to that. Once we've set our intentions, you let go and you surrender to that manifestation. Because as soon as you try to control, the experiment fails. You know that, right? I'm sure you have tried that. Anyway, things have been building in the background. A lot of things are currently in flux, and there's so many topics that are important to us that is busy building towards major disclosure in the mainstream media with official government disclosures, which is necessary to get the planet out of its zombie brainwashed state. That's really all I can describe it as, because the whole planet is under MK Ultra. So you've got to do this systematically, because otherwise, that patient ain't going to make it. So the patient might just go crazy. So the patient has to be acclimatized. The patient, being the planetary consciousness, has to be acclimatized slowly and through official channels, unfortunately, even though we don't need official channels to tell us anything. It's kind of, the way you've created the problem, you've got to undo it in the same way in order to break the spell successfully and to do things lawfully and legally according to these horrendous systems that have been created. So, but I see the biggest part of disclosure right now that is building in a major way is the alien UFO UAP disclosure. Something big is coming, guys. Something very big is coming. Even pastors in the US are now being briefed by the government, by, hidden departments or sections within the government to prepare their people that alien disclosure is on the way. So, all of those religions that have denied the existence of life beyond this planet, extraterrestrials, ET races, aliens, you know, having been to Earth and walking amongst us, um, alien technology and craft, advanced technology from outer space, all of these things, they are being asked to prepare their people because this disclosure is about to hit. And I can foresee something very big coming. Very exciting for us, perhaps scary for others, but it's great news. And we can already see the motherships showing up just everywhere. Like in Cape Town, where I am, just 2 days ago, all these pictures were shared all over the internet about these lenticular clouds, which we know is there to cloak spaceships or motherships, and they are all over the place. They are literally waiting, taking their final positions before the curtain comes down or opens up or goes up or whatever. The curtain goes up, right? When a stage play is being planned. So all over Cape Town, the ships are everywhere. And I'm sure wherever you are, they're everywhere as well. I'm not the only one in the only city in Greater Cape Town that this is prevalent. And the interesting thing is where these things are shared on Facebook, it's not amongst like very what is the word, alternative kind of channels or media. It's very mainstream. It's like weather channels. And I look at the comments and it's amazing. People are just like, huh, great. Yeah, that's awesome. People who are not necessarily awake are commenting in droves on these pictures and videos, which are unlike mainstream kind of ish weather channels and stuff on Facebook. And they just like, oh, okay, it's time. Bring it on. And I'm very surprised that a lot of people have already been acclimatized to the idea that there is life beyond Earth. We're not alone in this universe. And a lot of people already accepted it. Okay, when they actually see it physically with their own eyes, that might be a different story. And even for us, some of us will be shocked, out of our shoes when a craft or an alien literally shows up in real life. But how do you prepare the public? It's like a very a strategic marketing campaign. Like if you want to launch an idea, a product, a service, a brand, what do? You seed it into the collective through different channels, different media, articles, adverts, messages, social media. You use a variety of channels and media that are going to reach the target consumer in different ways. So different target consumers and target groups are approached in different ways, depending on their level of openness, awareness, awakeness, to reach a certain, and it's about repetition because that's how our brains work. The more we hear something, the more we see something, the more we start accepting it. And it's been happening on the negative side and on the positive side, but mostly on the negative side up to now. We were desensitized to all of these things, even to the pedos now getting accepted into society with a different name, minor attracted individuals. And that's how they desensitize us to a lot of things. That's just one example. Also the scamdemic issue where all the media were caught to quote exactly the same line in order to brainwash the people. That's how they do it. So it's mostly been used in the negative sense, but the alliance in the white hats are now using it in the positive way to desensitize people, to get them ready for the big disclosure that's coming. So the alien card is a big one now because once people know we're not alone in the universe, that changes everything. Literally, it opens up infinite possibilities. And this is why they've been wanting to keep this hidden for so long, because once we know there's much more than just us here on little planet Earth, there's an entire universe and in fact multiverse out there with thousands of planets and races that have traversed time and space and beyond, then that changes everything. The way people think about themselves changes, and that is part of what will liberate humanity in out of their sort of boxed, limited thinking. I've spoken before about some people say one life, live it. Well, you don't. We've had many, many thousands of lives. So, don't fear death. Don't fear the end to your character. That's, what'll happen, because you're an eternal soul. So you should never identify too much with this human character. Remember who you really are. Remember who you really are. You're an eternal soul, an ancient soul that have lived thousands of lifetimes and even on different planets. Most of you are star seeds that are on here. But even there are some that may not be star seeds that are earthbound souls, and that's cool as well. We all have a role to play. We all have a puzzle piece to bring. But many of us have been, a lot of these ETs that we're just going to be introduced to soon. And, the rollout might be a little bit slow for you, but it's going to be like that drip, drip, flood concept. And so at some point, we will just be flooded and we'll be like, okay, just, pour the bucket of cold water on top of them. It's time to wake up. So the bucket of cold water is coming. It's on the way, and you can feel it, right? You can feel it. It's building everywhere. And even in esoteric circles, channelers are saying it's imminent. Imminent for us to be introduced to other star races. And I'm just going to take a sip of my matcha latte. I'm recording this in the morning. I normally record in the afternoon. So I need my matcha latte. I haven't had coffee for maybe more than 2 years. I can't remember. And I used to love my coffee. I mean, I used to be a coffee aficionado. In fact, I used to be, well, I kind of still am a shareholder in a coffee company, a luxury coffee company. Can you believe it? And I just gave it up 2 years ago, and I've never looked back, I must say. I'm just, I'm just too hyper already that it's not really good for me. And a lot of people see it keeps you anchored into the 3D because it's that go, go, go kind of energy. So, but hey, it works for a lot of people. For me, I decided to give it up. And I love my matcha latte, which I make with macadamia nut butter, not milk. And this is just my go-to and my favorite in the morning. So as Richard would say, yum, yum, bubble gum. Hmm. So good. So good. So yeah, the alien card is about to be played, and I hope you are ready, because ready or not, it's coming. The other big disclosure is going to be the financial system that's going to be changing, and I have said many times this is imminent as well. We don't really know what's going on in behind the scenes. I think a lot of these plans have been delayed for whatever reason, but the intention is to effect these changes ASAP. And I think most of the boxes have been ticked. So if there's something in the background that's going on that needs to be looked at, addressed, we don't know. We're not privy to that, because the Earth Alliance, I mean, there's very few people that actually know when the switch will be flipped. um, Nobody really knows, and it's going to be a surprise for us all. But we are kind of expecting it, right? We know it's imminent. It's coming soon. And despite that, life goes on. I'm not worried. I'm not prepping. I'm not stocking up because I'm not in lack and scarcity consciousness. That's not me. Again, creating your own reality. So a lot of people are prepping and you know investing in this, investing in that. And yeah, I've dabbled in some of these investments, but I'm not fearful. And I know everything will be fine, and we're heading towards an incredible new future. And even, I'm making travel plans. I'm doing a retreat in Mauritius next month over the solstice, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So remember, with you, you have to train your mind, right, to create your own reality and to stop the negative thoughts from reappearing. And that takes a lot of practice. But remember, your body, because you're 80-90% water, holds the memory and holds the patterns, and it holds the ancestral trauma. It stores that in the body. And sometimes it even gets trapped in the body. So that's why physical energy work is so important, like Qigong, which literally means energy work. That's what it means in Chinese, Mandarin, whatever. It means energy work. And then Tai Chi means the great energy, because it is this discovery of this great energy, this chi, this prana, this plasma, this quantum field that you can access with the right training. And that's also where other gifts like telekinesis will flow from, right? Because once you know how to manipulate energy, not only in your body, but in your surrounding, in the quantum field, how to reorganize energy, shall we say, rather, because energy is neutral. Energy is what you make it, is your intention. So it's not just, oh, energy, energy, energy. No, energy has many different forms. And if you study the Tao and the Chinese philosophies, all ancient Chinese philosophies, it will teach you the different types of energy that is present. And sometimes you create, there's something even like evil chi. That you could call it maybe an archon. And that we create actually ourselves. That's not anybody else that sent that. Our shadow side creates those things, and we're allowed into our space. But just as we're allowed into our space, we can just guide it out of our space as well. There is defensive chi. There is pure heavenly chi. There's all of these different forms of chi that you learn about in these great ancient arts that have literally been around for centuries, thousands of years. And also, you can see it. You can see the proof of how that works when you look at the ancient masters who could levitate, who could fly. They literally could fly. If you still today watch some of those Chinese movies on Netflix, the fantasy ones, well, they're not fantasy. That's the way it used to be. People used to be able to manipulate energy and literally fly. I'm not talking like a bird, but you can fly on top of and stand on top of your roof if you learn to manipulate the energy correctly. But it takes years and years and years of training. It's not easy, and even the royals in those days, they would employ these masters to teach their kids. So the kids would grow up from an early age learning how to manipulate energy. They would meditate for hours. They do martial art. They would study. They would, literally learn for years and years and years how to manipulate and master energy. All of these emperors used to have, like a Tai Chi advisor who not only trained them, but also advised them, like a wisdom guide. And, they were heavily relied on that for decisions and steering the kingdom. Okay, a lot of them used it for, they used it for bad, but things always harmonize. That's how the yin yang works. If you create evil chi, at some point it's got to transform into pure chi again. And anyway, I get distracted, but this art form is very, very powerful. So if you truly want to make kind of lasting changes in your life and overwrite those old habits and programs and rewire your brain, sometimes you've got to do it physically in the body through working with the energy in your body, learning to work with it, learning to manipulate it. And that is a years-long practice. It's not something that you're going to do in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, these days, a lot of things like Reiki has been diluted, which is, the Japanese also art, ancient Japanese art, working with energy and learning how to heal with energy. But nowadays, it's like I don't know, couple of hours course and you've got your Reiki master. I mean, back in the day, you had to study for literally decades to be a master. And I believe that's still the case, because mastery is not only about being able to manipulate energy, it's also about being able to apply that wisdom in your own life through life experience, through embodiment, through lived experience. Anyway, I'm getting way off track, but just to say that sometimes when you want to make lasting changes in your life, you've got to actually learn to alchemize and manipulate the energy, not only within your body, but in your surroundings. Because if you don't do it in your body, there's always little energy pockets trapped in your body. And what happens with stale energy? It creates into something that festers. It can create disease. It can transform into suppressed anger, resentment, rage, even. So all of these unexpressed emotions end up being embedded in the body. So working with energy is literally moving those things through your body and letting energy flow again freely instead of getting it trapped in the body. And sometimes those things are important. So I think that's what makes our retreat in Mauritius next month so powerful, because that's what my husband teaches, because he is a master of Qigong and Tai Chi, and also a doctor of Chinese medicine, and gifted healer, energy healer, and acupuncturist. And that's his gift. And that's what he teaches. And I teach, the wisdom teaching, the soul guidance, um, and so we complement each other in that way. So it's going to be such a beautiful experience. I cannot wait. If there's any last minute takers, we've got literally two places left. So you can email me at anina@vividearth.org if you're interested to come to this beautiful island, slice of Lemuria off the coast of Africa. That is this tropical, potent, volcanic island. We're going to be visiting the vortex, the great vortex on the island. We're going to be visiting sacred waterfalls, doing water immersions, ocean immersions, and water therapy, and hopefully swim with the dolphins as well. But I need to just fully investigate the ethical aspects around it first. Oops. I just had to quickly answer the door, but I'm back. So we've been preparing, and we've been prepared for what's coming next, all of the changes that are coming. And just remember, we've been prepared for weeks now, even months. A lot of people have had a hard time since late last year and found it very difficult. The energies, the pressure, all the shadow stuff coming up, the being triggered all the time, having relationship issues. A lot of people have been seeing a lot of difficult things come up for them, whatever it may be, whatever your soul lessons are that would have come up for you. But just remember, we have been prepared. And even though it may not always feel like it, there's progress and there's work that has been done. So what's been building now wants to move. So let it move. Let it move away. Your attention has been drawn to aspects of your life that you needed to look at and let go of. Now let it go. You don't have to fret and overanalyze and keep at it. So what's been unclear now slowly sharpens into direction. So you may start feeling like, I'm starting to feel like which way to go now. Remember, whatever was out of alignment can no longer be ignored as well. So you've got to let go of the stuff that's no longer in alignment. And, we've been doing that. My husband and I being drawn intuitively to let go of a lot of stuff, including our home in South Africa, like literally letting go of everything, even the wellness sanctuary that we built, which isn't a means, it's not the end, it's just a means to the end. It was an exercise, it was a blueprint for us, and now we're going to take it to the next level, further out of the matrix than what we had before. So this was preparation. And a lot of the 3D trappings we are letting go of, including a lot of stuff we own, a lot of memories, a lot of history. And it's been such a liberating exercise. It can be a little bit disconcerting at times when you have to decide, am I letting go of this? Am I throwing this out? But it's liberating when you look at it in the right way. So just remember, the lens at which you look things at, that's the way your life is going to be directed. So you can either see it as a positive, you can either look at life through rose-colored glasses, or you can see all the ugliness and you will just get more ugliness. Have you ever had those days you get out of the bed with the wrong side of the bed, as they call it? And then you wake up in a mood, right? You feel like you're in a mood. You just see everything that's wrong. Oh, but he did that. And why is this like this? And it starts creating like a snowball effect. So you see more and more things that you don't like around you. You have more and more experiences that you don't like because you've created that kind of energy when you woke up in the morning. That's why it's so important to start your day the right way. To start with gratitude, be grateful for all of the things that you are, and start with your I ams. I am love, I am light, I'm abundance, I'm beauty, I'm blessings, I'm bliss, I'm healthy, I'm whole, I'm miracles, I'm magic, I'm joy, I'm happiness, I'm compassion, I'm kindness, I'm peace, I'm harmony, I'm sovereign, I'm free. Whatever your I ams are, start with that, because you literally program your mind like that when you wake up. Express gratitude for the things that you have. Guess what? More things to be grateful for will show up in your life pretty soon, because that's how quantum physics works. There's no discussion about it. There's nothing you can argue, because it's the nature of reality. So you can keep denying it, or you can accept it and work with it and master this human experience, because this is what we came here to do. That's what your soul's intention was, to come to earth so you can master this human experience during this very challenging yet historic time on earth, the greatest time to be alive on earth. Trust me, many, many souls wanted to come during this time. Not everyone could come, because the 144,000, whether you want to call that exact number or mathematical formula, only so many could come, and they needed to shift the frequency on Earth enough in order to help the planet transcend and ascend. So they couldn't send any inexperienced souls. They could only send the most experienced souls. So you volunteered for this. You signed up for this mission. Now go and kick some ass, as they say. Make it happen. Master this human experience. It's a game. Once you start looking at it as a game, you learn the rules of the game, you can win the game. You can master the human experience. So it takes the personal aspect out of it. So you don't take it so personally, like somebody's out to get you. It's just a game. Once you understand the rules, you can change your game. You literally can change your game. You can design your own game. That's the beauty of it. So um, let's get ready to move on from what no longer fits in the new earth. And think about that. What is new earth like? What is really fit? What does it mean? What fits into the new earth? Well, attachment to material things as a beginning doesn't fit new earth. You can enjoy beautiful things. You can enjoy beautiful experiences, but don't be attached to it for your happiness. The moment you detach from it, the moment you're actually willing to let go of it, that's the moment you will get more of it, coincidentally or paradoxically, if you want to call that. So this portal that we're in is, it doesn't wait. So just go with it. You see this, rapids on a river, and you're in a boat and you see that rapid coming. Don't fight the rapid. Just go for it and trust that you'll come out on the other side on top of your raft, and having just had the thrill of doing this amazing rapid on this river of life, because trust will get you there, and trust is what creates the right frequency in this quantum physics game that we are playing to get you into a good flow that's going to be for your highest good. And I love this discussion that Pam Gregory and Thomas J. Brown had regarding water being a fractal antenna. a bridge between the cosmos and consciousness, because as I said before, we're 80-90% water. So he wrote an article where he explored the central thesis that water is not just H2O, but it's a complex, coherent structure, I would say, form of plasma that acts as a receiver for cosmic frequencies, and then a transmitter as well, because it holds those frequencies. And you can charge water, right, with emotion. Emoto, the Japanese scientists, have proven that. You can literally charge water with your emotion and your attention. If you think love and you send love to a bottle of water, that water is going to nourish you in ways that you can't even imagine. Or, if, on the other hand, if you make food in which you use water, say you're cooking something on the stove, you're full of anger, resentment, rage, that energy is going to go into the food. And it's not going to nourish you, and it's not going to nourish those that eat the food. So water has that ability to carry intention and frequency, because emotion is just a frequency, actually. So that's why it's a game of frequency that we're busy playing. If you understand how emotion is a frequency, and you learn how to control and manage and manipulate the energy that is that frequency, then you win the game, you master the game. So he spoke more about the scientific side of it. The key idea was to discuss how water molecules form icosahedral clusters, as Plato suggested and modern science confirms, that respond to planetary alignments. The takeaway was our bodies are roughly 99% water, if you look at it anatomically and not, the way we normally look at it, by molecular count, meaning that we are walking antennas constantly in dialogue with the universe. And so are you just going to be like, attracting any energies or frequencies? Or are you going to learn to be coherent and attract a certain frequency? Are you going to tune into an incoherent radio station? Or are you going to tune into a very beautiful, high frequency, coherent radio station? Because that's up to you. You're the antenna. You decide. You're not powerless and you're not helpless. So, and astrology is part of that. And how eclipses physically alter liquid matter, for example. That moves beyond symbolic interpretation by highlighting the metal planet experiments of Lily Koliska, because we also bioelectric beings, magnetic beings. And I think it's the female energy, the divine feminine, that's the positive side of the magnetic energy, and the divine masculine, that's the negative side, or could be vice versa. I can't remember now. And together it creates a magnetic effect. That's why the union of the divine masculine and divine feminine is so important, because it completes that bioelectrical cycle. We are literally walking magnets, right? So, yeah, for example, during a solar eclipse, gold chloride solutions lose their ability to form crystallization patterns on blotting paper, according to these scientific studies. And the takeaway of that is that this provides a physical, observable correlation between celestial events and terrestrial matter, suggesting a microcosm connection that validates astrological principles. How beautiful is that? Because a lot of people still think astrology is woo-woo. So when you look at bioelectric health, protecting your living water that's within your body in a Wi-Fi world, you focus on the practical health implications of that research, specifically regarding EMF and Wi-Fi interference. Now you understand the plan behind 5G. That was supposed to completely ruin humanity. But I also heard that at the beginning of the scandemic, there was something like a magnetic device that was fitted onto 5G towers. I have no idea if that's across the world or just in the US, but apparently that negated the negative effects of the 5G that was actually planned for us to really mess up our bioelectric system. But we still, you know, if you have Wi-Fi in the house, that still interferes with your bioelectric rhythm. So switch off your Wi-Fi at night, guys. I do it every single night. And have some orgonite around you, because the orgonite harmonize these frequencies. You are literally, like I said, a walking antenna. So think about that for a moment. That has an impact on your ability to work with energy as well. The stronger the signal, the stronger the bioelectric health, the more you're able to work with your own energy, manipulate it, transform it, alchemize it, right? So if you also look at the visual evidence from Beda Austin's work related to water, showing how Wi-Fi routers disrupt the beautiful ordered structures of spring water. Those are actually experiments that she did. So the takeaway of that is explore how specific geometries or antennas like the BioArc disk can help restructure water and mitigate the disordered effects of modern technology on our biology. And remember, structured water is all the rage right now, and there's a lot of expensive water machines, filters, etc., that can restructure water beautifully. But you are the best restructuring technology. Let us not forget that, because you actually, through your powerful intentions, can structure your own water. But then you have to take control of managing your own energy field, right? Because if you don't do it correctly, your water is going to be all over the place, confused with the negative thoughts and the positive thoughts. So you've got to be very intentional, be disciplined, and very strict with your thoughts. So yeah, very, very interesting. And then the galactic connection. We had the March 21st equinox. They spoke about how that changed your biology, highlighting Giorgio Picardi's research on chemical precipitation rates and their annual fluctuations. The key idea was that to explain the discovery of consistent dip in chemical reactions every March 21st, coinciding with the Earth moving directly towards the galactic center. And some of us have connections with the galactic center, and that's where a lot of us get our very advanced downloads and wisdom from. And other people look at us like, huh? She's talking gibberish. But soon people will realize it's not gibberish. So our biological and chemical systems are not just tied to the sun and the moon magnetically and biochemically, but are indexed to the geometry of our motion through the entire Milky Way. A lot of people say, yeah, but the moon is fake. Yes, but it's part of our energy field right now, so you can't just take it away. When we ascend to 5D, I believe the moon will change form and possibly go away. But because it's part of the 3D matrix, it is part of how the energy interaction works within the dome, if you will. So that's where intentional hydration comes in, the alchemy of blessing your water, a more lifestyle. So since water is a single molecule or a quasi-crystalline structure, hello, we're going from carbon to crystalline, right? Capable of storing information, our thoughts and intentions can change the quality of the water. So if you make a habit of always blessing your water with love or gratitude before you consume it, effectively drinking love to influence the internal energetic state of the body can create miracles. So we mustn't forget about that. Remember, May is a turning point for us, guys. It is a major turning point. We've just been through the fifth portal. It's now like we finished the first half in a way, and we like finished with the preparation phase, and now it's kind of go time. Everything that we've been preparing for, all of the pressure and uncomfortable things we've been feeling, is now shifting. Timelines have shifted. We are on an upward trajectory, so don't forget that. And keep on that path. Don't allow yourself to be pulled into any negative timelines, because there's still timeline hijacks out there, but we don't allow that into our space, do we now? So Very important to be disciplined regarding how you manage your energy around you. And also do make sure you do regular energy clearings. Like when you interact with people, even when you, well, especially when you hug them, for example, you exchange energy. So do you know actually who you're exchanging energy with and what kind of energy you actually take on through that? You must be very cognizant of that. I've actually stopped hugging a lot of people. I was like, sorry, I don't want to be rude, but I don't do that anymore unless I know the person and I feel their energy. Then I hug away like you can't believe. But I don't just hug just anyone. And people that like shaking hands, I don't like that either. I don't like shaking hands at all. People that, put their hand out to me, I'm like begrudgingly will take their hand. But remember, there are portals in your hands as well. So you're sending energy through your hands, and your hand is an energy wand, by the way. So that's why when you point your finger to someone or they point it to yours, it's that feeling of, no, 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 you can't point the finger at me. I don't want that energy, because subconsciously that is an energy wand. And the fingers, there's even chakras in the fingers. So this index finger is very powerful in directing energy. So if somebody is mad at you, angry at you, and they point a finger at you, you know what that feels like, right? And that is why there's all there's a video on YouTube about cats, people pointing fingers at them, showing the cats really don't like fingers being pointed, because the cats know. The cats are frequency masters in a way, you know. Um, yeah, that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we can go down to. We discussed in our 5D community call this past Sunday. Somebody brought up the fact that cat purring is very healing. We know that, of course, but there's actually tracks on YouTube you can find of purring cats. And she actually used it to help her heal a major fracture in her body that she was supposed to get surgery for. And she said, no, I'm not going to have the surgery. And she used the cat purring videos to help re-knit the bone together, obviously with other things like comfrey and other, bone broth and all of these things that builds bones. But she said the cat purring frequency that she found on YouTube was extremely powerful, and it actually helped her heal much faster. The doctors were amazed. So frequency is the future, and frequency is all around us. It's not just in the form of a made bed or a rife machine. The bees have frequency, the cats have frequency, every living thing has frequency, the trees have frequency. They did a test on a tree where they picked the leaf and they brought a flame close to the leaf, and the leaf retracted and gave off this kind of screaming frequency, but not only the leaf, but also the tree. So even though it was severed completely from the tree and quite a distance away from the tree could just still feel that screaming frequency. And what they actually do in a case like that is the tree would send more water to the leaves, so that when the fire comes, it's not so easy to burn. So we live in such an intelligent universe, and and planet, really, where everything is frequency, everything is energy. And once we start learning how to work with energy, the whole game changes. And we're learning all these fascinating new things, and all of that is going to come out as well in the mainstream news. I mean, talk about technology. We've been prepped for that as well. The fact that advanced technology, the release of advanced technology is very close. And they've been preparing for that for a few years, because is it the Monroe Doctrine? What is it now? Sorry, the Chevron Doctrine that they overturned, that will allow new technologies to be released without those things being decided in a courtroom where judges and attorneys and panels are bought and paid for. And so that have prepared and facilitated the landscape for an easier, more seamless ability for inventors to release new energy devices, new technologies, without having to be blocked by the big corporate companies in whose interest it often isn't. But it's the big oil companies, the big electricity companies that still work in the old way, wired electricity that we paid for, which, I mean, electricity is free from the atmosphere. Why on earth are we paying for it? Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But all of these things are going to start coming out in the public as well. And just now, I saw a video of a car being just launched. Company called Alpine, which I don't know, but they recently unveiled a groundbreaking supercar that operates solely on water. And they say actually in 1976, during the oil crisis, Stanley Meyer created a car that runs purely on water on the principle of splitting water atoms into its elemental form, burning hydrogen to create energy and releasing oxygen, which generated no emissions. Of course, they buried this. The whole theory was called a conspiracy back then, unproven, and it was scraped, while Meyer ended up being unalived without his technology ever seeing the light of day. And that's been their modus operandi, right? The corporates, the three-letter agencies have just known how to bury things, how to unalive people. You just have to look at the missing scientists. I think the count is now 15, and a lot of them are working with these technologies and been wanting to release it to the public. But I believe this is all part of the disclosure. Not all of them are actually gone. Some of them are in witness protection, so that they can continue their work and at the same time feed into the narrative to the public, like, hey, something is wrong. All these scientists can't just coincidentally go missing or end up dead. So what is behind this and why is this happening? So they get people to start researching, even the ones that are not awake. So so this article said, now evidently they are using the same technological principles, but considering the anticipated price tag of several $1 million for this car, it becomes apparent that only 0.1% of the population will ever have the privilege of owning it. Since this seems to be the case, such exclusivity is completely acceptable. But I think that's just the beginning. That's what gets the attention, because this car looks very futuristic, right? It looks super cool. That's how you create the PR. It always works like that. The first one is expensive, and then soon after, the avalanche follows, and it becomes much more accessible to the rest of the people. So, yeah, there's so much going on. I mean, Trump just spoke about that he may be in office for the next 8 to 9 years, which completely freaked the TDS lefties out completely. Um, we know, I can't remember if I even talked about this, but the royals that have visited the US, there was a very specific strategy around that, which is very interesting, which I need to find, because that is worth just going over in case you missed that on my Telegram channel. And by the way, if you're not on that channel and you want the daily updates, the downloads, and the decodes, I suggest you join our Vivid Earth Telegram channel, and the link is in the show notes below. So you can just click on that. It will take you right there and join. If you don't like too many updates, because we have a few admins posting in different time zones, there's always something being posted, then just you can mute it so you don't get all the notifications. That can become a bit much. So just a little pro tip there. But I wanted to talk about the bees, not the bees and the royals and the. So let me just find this article quickly. Okay, can't find the article right now, but it basically was quite a long article going through and listing why King Charles had to come to the US, the places that they needed to visit to lawfully hand over or hand back sovereignty to the US so that it can be lawfully and legally done. Otherwise, it's going to look like a coup, right? They don't want the lines to be accused of, taking over the US through a coup. So they have to all do this legally. So they visited these very specific places in Washington, D.C. and all around. to ensure that, sorry, I had to close the door, to ensure that this transfer of power happens smoothly. But there are certain optics that had to be met. And so certain places they had to visit. But throughout it all, you could see the comms, like Trump kind of walking in front of the king and him just like standing around like he's like an extra in the play. And then going to the presidential beehive, which was very interesting as well. And with the bee landing on Trump's hand. You can't make this shit up. Because the bees has got to do with royalty, and there's some very ancient tradition that when a bee goes to you, it selects you for your frequency and your energy, and as a signal that Trump is now the real king. They visited this newly expanded beehive on the South Lawn that was in the shape of the White House. So it's like literally the transfer of power. And Melania was the one that unveiled it. And as I said, it's an ancient British and Scottish tradition. And remember, Trump has Scottish roots and is actually related to the king, to the, original king, not the fake king. So amongst royal and rural families, you must formally tell the bees of any major change in the household, a death, a marriage, a new master of the house. So that was a calm, right? So failing to do so, and the hive may abandon you. And remember, bees are the lifeblood of this planet. We will literally not survive without the bees because they are the ones that pollinate our food. We will literally die. And so the bees are kind of in charge. And remember, they don't fly, they levitate through frequency. And when Queen Elizabeth II passed in 2022, the royal beekeeper performed the ritual at Buckingham Palace even, and at Clarence House, saying the Queen is dead, long live the King. So remember, Trump is a distant Scottish steward cousin of the royals, publicly showing the thriving American hives to the king, the new master. So those are all the signs, guys. It's all also, remember, a movie playing out, central casting. Some of it is real, some of it is the movie, some of it is optics, some of it are mathematical formulas into the positive timeline that we had to ensure as volunteers. And so it's all going in the right direction. Be patient, trust the timing, trust the plan, I hate to say it, and do your own work. Do your bit. Doesn't mean you have to sit back and wait for somebody else to do all the work or to come and save us. You are the change on this portal for fifth and beyond. This portal energy that we are. Be the change you want to see in the world. Create the change. Create with your ability to work with energy and manipulate energy, mastering this human game. Create the small changes in your life that make you more of a sovereign soul. Let go of the stuff, the attachments of the 3D, so we can co-create this new earth and anchor in new earth right where we are, because we're not going anywhere. We are anchoring in new earth like antennas for the planet, for Mother Gaia, more and more in little pockets every single day. So every decision and every moment that you make matters. So do what you came here to do. Do what you've trained to do, and remember who you are. That's all you need to do. So with that, I'm not going to discuss any more intel today. I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope you have a fabulous day. And I'm sending you so much love. And remember, may the force be with you because you are the force. Much love.